All right, all praise, we're back. Hey, the dragon was wroth with that thing. Said, I want you Negroes revolutionary. Nah. Let's see something real quick. Start with something. Hey, real quick, because we were in Daniel, right? Let's read Daniel again. Was it 3:17? 3:17 and 18 again.
Daniel chapter 3 and verse 17. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace.
So again, the revolutionary mind is both sides of this spectrum. One, we know that the Lord can and is fully able to.
He will deliver us out of thine hand,
Come on,
O King. But if not,
but if it's his will to leave us in that situation, go ahead.
Be it known unto thee, O King, that we will not serve thy gods.
It says we will not bow down and worship that golden image. That's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. Hold on. Where is the there it is. Okay. That is not going to happen. So real quick, go to Judith 13. Esther 13, verse 4 and 5. Because, oh, matter of fact, no, stay in that Daniel. Go back to that Daniel real quick. Man, Esau cutting the feed just threw me off, man. Hold on, Daniel. Three. Go to Daniel 3 and 3. So remember, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, Azariah, Hananiah, and Mishael said, we are not going to bow down and worship your image, right? Start at verse 3 now.
Daniel chapter 3, verse 3. Then the princes, the governors and captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces.
Now, here's what I want you to see. Babylon had rule over many lands besides the land of Babylon. Okay? So anywhere that they were ruling over, whatever province it is, go ahead.
Were gathered together unto the dedication of the image.
You see that thing? So when Nebuchadnezzar dedicated this image, it says everybody was there. Everybody was there. This goes right back into that revolution. This is showing how revolutionary these three brothers were. These three brothers was like, we are not bowing down to your image. It says all the high esteemed people were there. That's like today's inauguration. When the president gets inaugurated, you see how DC is like standing room only? For miles and miles, all you see is people come to watch the president inaugurated into office. I remember I watched it on TV when Obama was inaugurated, like a big ass Soul Train line. Jake, as far as the eye can see. That's what we see here. We see the dedication of that image. And it says everybody was there from every province. Go ahead.
Were gathered together unto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then an herald cried aloud, to you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages.
It says, wait. It says a herald cry aloud. There was a loud cry or, horn system that cried out and made a very loud sound. And it said, this is commanded unto you, O people. This is commanded unto you, O people. So what we see here is a king's commandment, correct? Go ahead.
That at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music. Ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar
Now,
had set up.
Who is Nebuchadnezzar speaking to? He's talking to all the people within his provinces that he has rule over. All the people. When you hear this sound, you all follow this commandment, bow down and worship the image in one unison. Same thing with just Pledge of Allegiance. Stand up, put your hand over your heart in unison. But that's funny. So why would Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, or Azariah, Hananiah, and Mishael, why would they rebel against this? Ecclesiastes 8 and 2. Ecclesiastes 8, verse 2.
Ecclesiastes chapter 8 and verse 2. I counsel thee to keep the king's commandment.
Now, hold on. King Solomon says, I'm counseling you to keep the king's commandment. Well, we just read the king's commandment is to bow down and worship the golden image. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego didn't do that. They didn't follow the king's commandment. Is the Bible contradicting itself? Keep reading.
That in regard of the oath of God.
Wait. Keep the king's commandment in regard of the commandments of God. The only commandment of the king you're going to keep is the ones that go along with the commandments of God. Hope y'all understand that. So now, the commandment of the king is you can't kill anybody, right? Now, that doesn't go against the oath of God because God says, thou shalt not kill. Makes sense, right? So you keep that commandment of the king because God said so. The commandment of the king is if you steal, you go to jail. Do we keep that? Absolutely. Why? Because God's commandment says thou shalt not steal. The king now says that two men can get married. Two women can get married. Do we do that? Do we go into sodomy now? Because the king, we have to obey what the king says. No, we don't. Because that goes against God. Y'all see the point? It's not hard. So the revolutionary mind says, I'll keep the king's commandment in regard to God's commandments. That's the oath. His oath is his commandments. His commandments have judgments. That's the oath of God. So read it again.
I counsel thee to keep the king's commandment, and that in regard of the oath of God.
It says, I'm commanding you, keep the king's. Like, for instance, don't go around being a damn serial killer. Keep the king's commandment. The commandment says you can't kill anybody. That's the commandment of the king. That's the meaning of the laws of the land. Okay? But always regard whatever law is set in place with God's laws. If they line up with God's laws, you do it. Guess what? When the king sends out his minions or his military or his police force, and the police says, give me that Matthew 5, agree with your adversary. And the police says, put your hands behind your back. Now, you're the king, you have to obey the instructions of the officer. Right? It's Matthew 5. So the oath of the king, you have to obey the instructions of the officers, right? So the officers put your hands behind your back. What do you do? Read.
Matthew chapter 5 and verse 25. Agree with thine adversaries quickly.
It says agree with your adversary quickly. Now, I know this is hard, but this too is a revolutionary mind. I'm going to say it again. This too is a revolutionary mind. Because what's in their power? In their power is the ability to take your life. This is why this is written in the scriptures. Because you might have come from, what do you call that group that always they use semantics? With the little red top hat. The Moor. You might come from Moorish science, right? And their whole ideology is to use the laws of the land against them, look at sub-laws and statutes and argue every daggone thing. Moors, oh my Lord. They give me a headache. They argue everything. Now, if you have that mindset in the truth, your behind is going to get whooped like Rodney King. I'm gonna tell you straight. I'm gonna tell you straight, because there's a time and place for everything. Let me tell you something. I don't know if they do that in the north, but here in the South, when you see them dudes get out the car and if they put gloves on, am I right, Asa? They put them damn strap-on gloves. When you see him start strapping gloves on, he's about to whoop your behind. I'm telling you straight. When you see them gloves go on, oh, it's gonna be a problem. Meaning he doesn't want your blood under his fingernails. I'm telling you straight. So the scripture says, renew your mind. Don't conform to the world of what? Moorish science, of thinking you're gonna outwit them and all that. There's a time and place for that. There's a time and place for that. There's been times where situations are heated, and because we're calm, the police actually grant things in our favor. Because we're not the emotional ones. These drug dealers out here, hopped up on whatever, they all emotional, yelling and screaming. We calm as hell. And whatever the instructions that the officer gives, we just gonna follow it, as long as it goes with God's laws. That's it. That's it. It's not hard. That too is revolutionary. That too. So let's now go to Esther 14. We're almost done, y'all. Cut my feed. Actually, I got a lot more to go over, but Esther 14 and verse. I'm sorry, no, not 14. Esther 13, verse 4 and 5.
Esther chapter 13 and verse 4. Declared unto us that in all nations throughout the world there was scattered a certain malicious people that had laws contrary to all nations.
Now, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did not bow down to the golden image because they have laws contrary to all other people. When you read 2 Maccabees 6 and 6, all the heathen agreed to give up their religions and be one under the Greeks. We have laws contrary to the laws of everybody else. Read it again.
Declared unto us that in all nations throughout the world there was scattered a certain malicious people.
Now, here's the slander. We're called malicious people. Remember earlier we read the synonyms and definitions of revolutionary, and of peculiar. Now, read that again.
There was scattered a certain malicious people that had laws contrary to all nations.
Now, it says strange. Remember, the definitions was strange, unusual, new. Now, it says here they're calling us malicious, because it's a malicious thing to not follow the ways of the world. It's surreal, it's strange, it's peculiar to not follow the ways of the world. They said we have laws contrary to all other men. We have laws contrary to theirs. Go ahead.
And continually despise the commandment of kings.
See that? Why? Because listen, and here's the thing. Remember, Esther is during the time of the Persians, right? The things that they wanted us to do was against God. It was against God. So we just read the scripture in Ecclesiastes 8 and 2. It says, yeah, obey the instructions of the kings, but regard the oath of the Lord. So now, because we don't go with the king says you got to eat food sacrificed unto idols. Now we don't do that. Daniel chapter 1. Daniel said, I'm not doing it. Give me some pulse. I'll eat some wheatgrass. Give me some beet juice. I'll eat that. I'm not eating no meat sacrificed unto other gods. So now what do the nations say? Remember, we read it in 1 Peter 4 and 4. It says, and they'll speak evil of you because you don't go after the same excess of rioting. I hope y'all understand that. They're going to speak evil of you. So here they're calling you malicious. They're slandering us. So why did Peter say that in the New Testament? He's reminding us of what these scriptures right here from the Older Testament. He says, look, they're going to speak evil of you. Why? Because you can read the history in Esther. You can read the history where they slandered us. They slandered us under Ezra and Nehemiah. They slandered us. because we would not break the commandments of God. Go ahead.
So as the uniting of our kingdoms.
Why? Wait. What was the reason they slandered us?
So as the uniting of our kingdoms.
Because we didn't want to play a part. We didn't want to play a part in first breaking our covenants and make a covenant with them, pledge allegiance to them. They want everyone to be one nation. Where do you think America got that from? Because you don't conform to the world or the social norms, they tell you go back to Africa. They say if you don't like it here, go back to wherever you came from. Isn't it the same thing? Aren't we reading? America is nothing new. Their mindset is nothing new. They're the slave masters from old regenerated today. That's all they are. They have the same rhetoric. They have the same conversation. They have the same mindset. It's the exact same thing. Go ahead.
So as the uniting of our kingdoms, honorably intended by us.
It says honorably. The uniting of their kingdoms was honorable? When they want us to leave our laws, what honor is it in us leaving our laws? There is none. Because then we become proverbs, we become bywords, we become known as the heathen, known as, there's no honor in us leaving our laws. None whatsoever. It's actually dishonorable to leave our laws. Go ahead.
Seeing then, we understand that this people alone is continually in opposition unto all men.
Not to all men, because we're not in opposition to each other. We're in opposition to the heathen. We are not going to be doing the heathenish customs. I don't give a damn about a Chinese New Year. I'm going to be downtown with no damn big fake plastic paper dragon busting firecrackers. Nah, not me. I'm good. I'm good. I can't tell you. There's times when we're like, let's say we're going to go grab something to eat. And we're like, damn, why is everything closed? Oh yeah, today's Thanksgiving. Oh damn, today's Thanksgiving. We trying to get something to eat. Everywhere closed. That's happened a few times. We get together at school. We hanging out or whatever. Let's go grab something to eat. Like, damn, why is everything closed already? Hey, what's going on? Oh, today's Thanksgiving. Oh, I mean, we lose track of that stuff because we're not keeping the heathen customs. We don't give a damn about that. We don't care. Was that it?
Differing in the strange manner of their laws.
It says differing in the strange manner of our laws. Differing in the strange manner of our laws. Very strange to the other nations. First Maccabees 2:19.
First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 19.
19 and 20.
Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him and fall away every one from the religion of their fathers.
Though everyone else falls away from the religion of their fathers. Now, this is the next captivity, right? But it's showing they doing the same thing. Everybody become one people. Everybody leave their laws and be just like the Greeks. Just like the Persians said, everybody leave their religions and be with like the Persians. That's the thing. America is just a remix of all the captivities before. This is the place for every hateful and foul bird because all the captivities mesh into this one. This captivity pushing, just like something as simple. A sister said it to me. If you marry, why you don't have on a wedding ring? One time we teach it on the street. Because the wedding ring comes from Persia. That's where it began. It began between a man of high status and a boy. The Greeks adopted it. Same thing at first, but then it became between man and woman. Then moved into the Romans, man and woman. Now into America, pushing man and woman wearing wedding rings. That's not our custom. It was started by the heathen, showing you what? This place is the melting pot for all the captivities of old. The mindset of being one people, leave your laws. Oh, we're all one in Jesus. Just follow America. Pledge allegiance to the flag. It doesn't matter what color Jesus is. Pledge allegiance to the flag. It's the same thing. All the captivities of old are all here. This is the place for every foul and unclean bird. So the foulness of Persia is here. The foulness of Greece is here. The foulness of Rome is here. Babylon, Assyria, Egypt is all here. That's why this is the final captivity. Because all of them are here. Hope you understand that. So read that again.
Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, though all nations that are under the king's dominion.
It says all nations under the king's dominion. We just read that about the Persians. Now we're in the Greeks and they're saying the same thing. Go ahead.
Obey him and fall away every one from the religion of their fathers.
Come on.
And give consent to his commandments. Yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers.
You see that thing? That's revolutionary to the 10th power. Like, listen, I know what the king's commandment says. I've heard it. I see y'all all doing it. Oh, vote or die. You got the little sticker, Georgia voter. Man, please. Oh, you didn't vote? You know how many of our forefathers died for the right to vote? No, tell me how many. What are their names? Negroes just repeat dumb stuff that they know nothing about. Nothing about. But what has voting gotten us now? Well, I could drink water from a fountain that doesn't say colored anymore. It doesn't say Negro. It's just a water fountain. We all drink from the same fountain. That's what they died for. Come on. When they ask you, you know how many of our forefathers died for the right to vote? Ask them how many. Ask them their names. At least don't come quoting some stuff and you don't prove all things now. You better be ready to prove it. But these are the ways of the nations. They want you to leave all your covenants that you've made with the Lord. The Lord in Deuteronomy 17 says you can't put no other nation over you. You can't vote. Okay? We leave that to now standing online for an hour to vote for the great white hope. Man, please. Read that. You got something? Oh, God.
Verse 21. God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances.
It says, God forbid we should forsake our laws and the ordinances that God gave us. Go ahead.
We will not hearken to the king's words.
Nope. You see that thing? So remember, always remember Ecclesiastes 8:2. Hearken to the king, but regard the oath of the Lord. Regard God's commandments. So what they were telling us to do was against the commandments of God. Eat swine's flesh, eat defiled food, become one with the nations. That's not what God said. So Mattathias said, we are not going to do what the king says because all of his commandments are going against the laws of God. Read it again.
We will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion, either on the right hand or the left.
He says, we're not going to falter on the right or the left. We're going to stay in these straight commandments. Go to chapter 1 and 25.
First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 25. Mm-hmm. And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre and spoken very proudly. Mm-hmm. Therefore, there was great mourning in Israel in every place where they were, so that the princes and elders mourned, and the virgins and young men were made feeble.
So the young men were made feeble. They were no longer mighty men. This is what the Greeks did. They were made feeble and weak. Go ahead.
And the beauty of women was changed.
That's the point I wanted. So when these nations ruled, it says the beauty of our women changed. It changed to what? When you read Ezekiel 16, go ahead, read that. Ezekiel 16 and 14. It says the beauty of our women did change. So remember, the objective is, we read in chapter 2, the king's commandment is they want everyone to be as one, Verse 14.
Ezekiel chapter 16 and verse 14. And thy renown went forth among the heathen for thy beauty, for it was perfect through my comeliness.
So now we changed our beauty, because here it's something, when we're destroyed, our sister's not as beautiful anymore because of the destruction going on. But when you go to over to chapter 2, Mattathias is saying they want us to actually leave our laws to follow their ways. And what comes with that?
Which I have put upon thee.
Which is the beauty of the heathen. We went over this earlier. We started to follow the heathenish customs. And this is going with the world, being a part of the world. But God says you got to be different. Your mind has to change. So though our sister's beauty have changed, once we were destroyed, our beauty was, now we got on dust on our head and sackcloth. We thought in order to beautify ourselves, we must now leave God's laws and now go for the beauty of the heathen. You see the point? Because what? The image that we know of as beauty is now destroyed because the ones that don't look like us came and put their foot on our necks. So now the best thing to do is tries to look like them. The best thing to do is conform to their ways. Well, that's not revolutionary at all. Right. God called us to be revolutionary. Hope y'all understand that. Two quick scriptures, and I'm gonna end it there. I have more than two, but so I'm gonna end it with Psalms 97 and 10. I'll end it there. That's why they never put their changing of the Constitution on the ballots.
Psalm chapter 97.
There's nothing new under the sun at all. Go ahead.
Psalm 97 and verse 10. Ye that love the Lord, hate evil.
So now, a revolutionary mind will actually hate evil. Okay? It's not only the oppression you're going to hate the evil things that are done to us, but you're also going to hate the evil you commit and your brothers and sisters commit as well. Okay? You fear the Lord, you're going to hate evil, meaning you won't go into evil ways. That's a revolutionary mindset. So I pray brothers and sisters learn something today. I pray we all apply what the scripture says, that we may be profitable servants unto the Lord, our God. Okay? And I'm going to end it there. Yes, Robert, the beauty of our sisters changing is in the Bible. Yep. All praises. Yeah, she'll be rocking blonde hair for real. All praises. I don't know, Esau cut the feed or something, man, but you know how it is. Esau was like, no, don't tell them that they can be better than assimilating with everybody else. No. Yeah, we're the greatest people. To hell with their ways, with their mindset, with their customs. To hell with that. Okay? Always remember, don't be up on no ladder trying to put up no damn Christmas lights. Most High cast you down headlong. Don't do it. Hey, I know some of y'all might be a little young and your parents might be telling you, you might still live with your parents. They might tell you to go hang some Christmas lights. You better run out the house. Come back after Christmas. Have your pops chase you down the street with a belt. I'm not doing it. Boy, get up on that roof and hang them lights. No, handcuff yourself to the bed. Don't lose the key, though. Yeah, like Final Destination. You're right. You're right. Yeah, that's how most. Oh man, that's a whole nother class. When the Most High have you in his crosshairs, man, Most High is creative with it too. When you read what's that? Second Maccabees, is it 8? What he did to Antiochus, or 9?
I think it's not.
9. Second Maccabees 9, when he put the worms and he was stinking and all that. Most High is creative. I don't think it's just going to be I'm gonna die in my sleep sound with my fuzzy socks on. Nah, Most High is creative. You see how Most High killed the crocodile hunter? Like what's his name said? Cat Williams said, by a punk ass stingray. Stingray, you wrestling crocodiles your whole life. Boa constrictors, you fighting deadly beasts, and you swimming with a stingray, and that's what kill you. My Lord. Like, how could you? That's like when you go to jail, they be like, yo, what you in here for? Jaywalking. Like, what the hell? You gonna be my woman. Oh man. All praises, sis. Yeah, Freaknik was, my Lord. Freaknik was vexing as I don't know what. Freaknik makes you want to run through there just like that Bernie Mac thing, smacking everybody.
Yeah. Head of state.
Is that what it was? Yeah. All right. All praise to the Most High. I'm gonna end it there. I don't see any questions, so killed by a water bird. Damn, a stingray's a water bird. Holy crap. Yeah, Croc's hating on the stingray now. Exactly. Oh man, that's funny. All right, Israel. With that, Most High Christ bless. Said a water bird. That's funny. Oh man. Yo, fam, hurry up, man. What is going on with this thing?